Your strawberry bed is throwing runners in every direction, and the scissors are already in your hand. But don't cut yet. Some of those plantlets may be exactly what you need to renew or fill a June-bearing matted row. Others, especially in an individual plant or day-neutral system, are usually better removed. And here's the trap. The biggest, healthiest-looking runner isn't automatically one you should keep. Where it's rooting, whether you actually need another plant, and what the mother plant is doing all change the decision. So before you cut a single stem, follow one runner from the mother plant outward, because what you find the other end matters. That thin stem is a runner, technically is stolen, and it starts at the crown of the original or mother plant. Follow it outward, and you may find a small cluster of leaves sitting above the soil. That's the daughter plant. Now look underneath that daughter. If it's still hovering over mulch, lying across a pathway, or sitting in a pot without roots, it's essentially a plant waiting for a place to establish. But once that little plant makes good contact with soil or growing mix, it can develop its own roots and eventually live independently of the mother. The RHS actually uses this behavior to propagate strawberries. Runners are pinned onto growing medium while they're still attached, then separated after they've rooted. And this is where the decision becomes much easier. Before asking, should I cut this runner? Ask, what am I trying to make this strawberry plant do? If you're managing June-bearing strawberries as a matted row, selected daughters are useful. They're part of how that row fills in. Penn State describes runner and daughter plant growth as the basis of the matted row system. But if your goal is to keep individual plants fruiting in their own spaces, particularly in a day-neutral system, those same runners may be something you deliberately remove. That's why the advice online sounds contradictory. The runner isn't automatically the problem. The real question is whether that daughter plant has earned a place in your bed. So, what makes a daughter plant worth keeping? Start with purpose and position. If you're building or renewing a June-bearing matted row, a runner that can root inside the space you actually want strawberries growing may be useful. University guidance for matted rows specifically allows daughter plants to fill the row. But once that row reaches its intended width, plants wandering into aisles are no longer helping. Now, inspect the plantlet itself. Look for fresh green growth, an intact crown, and a daughter that appears vigorous rather than tiny, damaged, or stressed. And just as important, look back at the mother plant. If that parent is healthy and it's a variety you want more of, you may have a good candidate for propagation. Suppose there's an empty spot 6 inches away where you genuinely want another strawberry plant. Instead of letting 5 runners root randomly, guide one promising daughter into that gap and remove the excess. The same idea works if you want a replacement plant for another bed or container. You can deliberately root a selected daughter while it remains attached to the mother, rather than waiting for runners to choose their own locations. And notice the word selected. You're not trying to save every free strawberry plant you can get, because once enough good daughters have been chosen, the very next healthy-looking runner may belong on the cut list. And the easiest runners to cut are the ones growing where you never wanted another strawberry plant in the first place. A daughter plant stretching into a walkway, rooting against the edge of a raised bed, or squeezing into an already crowded patch isn't automatically valuable just because it looks healthy. Ask yourself what that plant will look like at full size. If there isn't enough room for another mature crown there, remove the runner before it becomes another plant you have to deal with. The same applies once your June-bearing row has enough daughter plants. A matted row is supposed to be controlled, not an invitation for strawberries to cover every open inch of soil. Then there's a completely different situation. Day-neutral strawberries grown as individual fruiting plants. In that system, University of Minnesota Extension recommends removing runners throughout the season. Those runners aren't being used to build a matted row, so keeping them works against the way the planting is being managed. And don't deliberately propagate from a mother plant that looks unhealthy, badly weakened, or suspicious. A free daughter plant is only useful if it's something you actually want to multiply. So here's a quick test. If the runner has no planned destination, no purpose, or no place to mature, it's usually a strong candidate for scissors. But there's one distinction that explains almost all the conflicting runner advice gardeners here, and it starts with the words June-bearing and day-neutral. Here's the distinction that clears up most of the confusion. With June-bearing strawberries managed as a matted row, runners aren't automatically unwanted. They're actually part of the system. The mother plants send out runners. Selected daughters root within the row. And those new plants help create the productive strip you're trying to build. Once that strip is filled, though, daughters spreading into the aisle or crowding beyond the intended row can be removed. Now compare that with day-neutral strawberries managed as individual plants. Here, you're usually not trying to create a carpet of daughter plants. You're maintaining separate fruiting crowns, and University of Minnesota Extension recommends removing runners throughout the season so the plants remain focused on fruit production. So two gardeners can hold up almost identical runners and receive opposite advice, and both may be correct. But don't rely on the words June bearing or day neutral alone. The production system matters too. Even Penn State describes situations where day neutral strawberries can be managed differently, which is exactly why universal runner rules are unreliable. If you don't know what you're growing, check the plant tag, the original variety name, or the nursery listing before making major decisions. Because once you've identified the system, the next question becomes much more practical. If you decide to keep a runner, how do you turn that dangling plantlet into a strong, independent strawberry plant? The safest way is to let the mother plant support that daughter, while the daughter builds roots of its own. Guide the selected plantlet onto loose soil where you want it to grow, or place a small pot of growing mix beside the mother plant, and lay the plantlet on top. The important part is contact. The base of that little daughter needs to sit against a growing medium, not hang above mulch or rest on a dry leaf. You can gently pin it in position so it doesn't move. University of Minnesota similarly recommends positioning runners where you want them and pressing the daughter into the soil to encourage rooting. Keep that spot evenly moist while roots develop. But don't bury the center of the plant under compost. The crown, the point where the leaves emerge, should remain at the surface. And don't cut the connecting runner immediately. The RHS recommends leaving the daughter attached while it roots, then severing from the parent once rooting has occurred. Instead of judging that by a calendar date, gently test the plant. If it resists a light tug and is anchored by its own roots, you know it's becoming independent. Only then does that connecting stem become expendable. But runners you don't want shouldn't be given the same opportunity to establish. For runners you don't want, cut them. Don't yank them out of the plant. Use scissors or pruning shears and sever the thin runner stem without tugging on the mother crown. University of Minnesota specifically recommends cutting excessive runners with scissors or pruning shears and removing or positioning runners throughout the season before they take over the bed. You don't need to cut flush against the crown. The goal is simply to disconnect the unwanted runner without damaging the leaves, crown, or roots you intend to keep. And timing matters more than many gardeners realize. If a daughter is heading into the pathway or an already crowded section, dealing with it while it's still unrooted is much easier than waiting until it's formed its own root system. In an established June-bearing row, runners inside the space you deliberately want filled may stay. Runners between rows are normally removed, with day-neutral plants managed individually. This becomes a regular maintenance job rather than a once-a-year cleanup. UMN guidance says those runners should be removed regularly because they aren't needed in that production system. So every time you inspect a bed, don't just look for ripe berries. Look at where the runners are going, because ignoring a few misplaced daughters now is how an organized strawberry planting quietly turns into a strawberry jungle. And that strawberry jungle usually doesn't happen because you kept one runner. It happens because that runner makes a daughter, more runners appear, and nobody decides where the row is supposed to end. A productive matted row still needs boundaries. University of Minnesota recommends keeping June-bearing rows relatively narrow because narrower beds improve light penetration and air movement, while Penn State notes that daughters spreading into the aisles can be removed once the intended row is filled. Think about harvesting. 2. If you have to step over rooted daughters to reach the berries, or push through overlapping crowns just to find the fruit, those free plants are beginning to cost you usable space. The RHS specifically recommends removing unwanted runners to prevent overcrowding and keeping clear gaps between rows for access. So use this simple filter when you find another runner. Keep it if you intentionally need another healthy plant and there's a suitable place for it to mature. Cut it if your row is already filled. It's entering a walkway, crowding existing crowns, or you're simply keeping it because throwing away a free plant feels wasteful. But there's one runner I wouldn't choose for propagation, even if the bed has plenty of empty space. And the warning signs begin back at the mother plant. That warning sign is health. If the mother plant is badly stunted, repeatedly wilting while neighboring strawberries look normal, showing suspicious leaf spotting, crown damage, or obvious pest problems, don't look at its runner and think, at least I'm getting a free replacement. You may simply be multiplying the problem. Some strawberry diseases can move with infected planting material, and symptoms aren't always obvious early on. Oregon State University Extension specifically cautions against using daughter plants from an old declining patch to establish a new planting, because viruses and other problems can be carried along with them. That doesn't mean every blemished leaf proves a plant is diseased. Heat, drought, nutrient problems, and ordinary leaf aging can also make strawberries look rough. The point is this: don't intentionally propagate from a plant you already have reason to distrust. And when an older bed is clearly losing vigor, endlessly cloning its runners isn't always the smartest renewal strategy. Starting fresh with certified disease-free or virus-indexed plants from a reputable nursery can reduce the chance of carrying hidden problems into the next bed. So sometimes the runner that feels hardest to cut is the one that looks like free money. But if the parent is questionable, free isn't necessarily a bargain. So before those scissors close on the next runner, ask 4 things. What kind of strawberry system am I managing? Do I actually need another plant? Is this daughter healthy? And does it have a deliberate place to grow? If the answers point toward renewal, propagation, or filling the right part of a June-bearing row, keep that selected runner and root it properly. If it has no purpose, no space, belongs in a system where runners are being removed, or comes from a plant you don't trust, cut it. That's the difference between letting strawberries spread and actually managing them. So when runners start crossing your bed, don't ask, are runners good or bad? Ask, does this one belong here? And if your strawberries are producing runners everywhere, tell me whether you're growing June-bearing or day-neutral plants, and which ones you've been keeping.